A huge free agent signing is here for the Padres. This one could change absolutely everything. Michael King restructures his deal, signs for a year, and adds some other incentives that I think could be really interesting for the Padres. Let's talk about all of that and its implications for this upcoming season. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen with another episode of Padres Digest. Before we dive into the Michael King news, I want to remind you all to hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest and quickest way to get all the Padres news, takes, information, insights, and outright just overreactions as we go throughout this drama-filled season, delivered right to your timeline. So hit that subscribe button. All right, let's talk about it. Michael King, he was set to go to arbitration until yesterday, and he wanted in the low eights. Padres wanted to pay in the mid sevens. So it was about a $500,000 to $700,000 difference for what was going to be expected for next season's salary. They sign a deal though that is it's a good sign to have him signing, but it's also a creative and interesting deal. The Padres will get Michael King for this season at a $1 million base pay. As we pull up King's numbers here for you guys to look at last season for what the Padres are getting for this. This is why this is a steal. $1 million in base pay, 3.5 in options for this season, 3.5 in terms of a player and team mutual option for next season. So ultimately, he is guaranteed the $7.75 million, but it is structured as like I said, a $1 million base pay, $3 million signing bonus, and a 2026 mutual option, including a $3.75 million buyout. So ultimately, this means that we have Michael King locked up and controlled for this year. In my time covering and just being a consumer of baseball, I don't think the Padres have ever done a mutual option. I don't think probably more than 30 or 40% of the mutual options are taken. But in guaranteeing King that buyout of 3.75, he cumulatively will make about $8 million guaranteed this year. It's just structured interestingly. It's not quite full-blown Dodger-level deferred payments, but I think that this is really, really good news on three major fronts, Padres fans. Number one is him being under contract is just great going into the season to avoid the underlying just unknowns. Of is he going to win the arbitration? Are the Padres going to win the arbitration? What does that mean for his having him signed shows, I think, mutual interest, even just at a 1-year deal. I really think there is a genuine nugget in there that is both of these parties being interested in being together longer term. And King, as a 29-year-old going into 30 on this season, I think is a 3 to 5 year lock for being a really, really talented, if not outright superstar in the majors. So somebody worth a good contract from the Padres. Number two, I think that this makes him entirely tradable, or significantly more. He always was tradable, but much, much more tradable, having that sort of guaranteed of this year, but also hypothetical of next year. I think gives, if there is a scenario where we need to dish him, or we can dish him for something that fits perfectly, or if the Padres just outright are not in it at the All-Star break and down the stretch they want to dish Cease, King, and Arraez and offload some of that to try and reload some of it in the future, him having not just a 1-year rental type of vibes, but 1+, because mutual options, like I said, they're not always guaranteed, but you would assume probably King is going to a place that he would want to wind up at if we are talking trade. So I think it makes him much more controllable in the trade market for the team that could receive him, so it makes him a little bit more leveraged for the Padres, saying, hey, you're not getting this guy for 15 starts this year, you're getting him for a year plus. So that's two. Number three is I think that this shows, even if it's out of desperation, the Padres' willingness to try and start just peeking inside, opening up the envelope a little bit of doing creative and fun and different things. They didn't decide to defer $5 million worth of his money over 20 years or give him 6% stock in Qualcomm or do something like crazy Dodger level. We're just going to start making up numbers. But instead of outright saying you're going to either make this amount of money this season or you're not going to make it, they found a middle ground and they found some wiggle room. And like I said, even if that's coming out of desperation, sometimes can be necessity is the mother of invention, and the Padres might just be at a point where it is necessary for them to start figuring out ways to do some deals with the fact that Tatis and Machado are locked up as a solid core on the offensive side, and you got Musgrove locked up as a solid core on the pitching side. You need to look at that middle group of dudes, specifically to me, Cease, Arraez, and King. Say, how do we hold on to those three without leveraging and mortgaging our entire future? And this, I think, is a fantastic sign that the Padres are at least willing to try and experiment with it. So hopefully, bringing this full circle, hopefully the core of this means that Michael King is starting to figure out a long-term option with the Padres and buying himself time to have a great season or have a bad season, figure out a long-term number where these two can be happy. Step 2 is he is a little bit better, if not significantly better trade bait. But step 3 is just that I think that we can move the panic meter back down from a 0.5 to maybe a 0.25. Always got to have a little panic as Padres fans, just because we haven't won a World Series yet. So rightfully so, that we can always be a little stressed going into a baseball season. But I think that this is nothing but good news for the Padres finally. So let me know, though, in the comment section what you guys think, what the number permanent or long-term, not permanently, but the next long-term number could be for King, or if you think that he should be dished and if the Padres shouldn't hang on to him. Like I said also at the start of this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so we can bring you all of the Friars news, P's and C's reporting right around the corner. Talk to you soon, Friar Faithful.